Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. What's up? What is up? What is up? Checking in the wrong project. Fixing a typo. Another typo. Thanks for ruining your chances of going to bed at a reasonable time. I don't know if it's only me that is ruining that. What about my chances of going to bed at a reasonable time? It's 10 p.m. and I'm starting a stream. It's probably not going to be that long of a stream. But I wanted to do another one because we went for a long period of time without streams. Okay, this is not correct. I put it in when I was confused. Got to make up for a lack of a super stream Sunday. Yes, but we won't be doing that too soon because I'm going on a trip tomorrow. Maybe I'll have good enough hotel internet to stream during the trip. I don't know. Got to keep the sub count up. Sub count is pretty far down. We were over 200 at one point, although a lot of those were gifted subs from people going crazy. Now we're at 126. Did I check in the modules thing? Yes. It is not done yet. The couple of changes that I just made were, so anytime I do something big, there's like all this spam that goes into the to-do, you know, and that is, I'm cleaning up some of that. But basically, part of what I want to do tonight, well, there's lots of fallout from this change. So you'll notice when I compiled here, remember how I got compilation down to 0.9 seconds? Now it's back up to like 1.2. And the reason is because the way that I changed libraries means we do way more import operations than we used to. Maybe I can optimize the import operations, and maybe we'll change it so that we do fewer of them. But I'm a little bit sad about that. But I don't know if I should really be sad about that, because maybe it's the time is going somewhere dumb that'll just go away. But yeah. So basically I did some stuff to make modules be more encapsulated and to give you more power. I started doing this stuff to give you more power over how they're organized. And it's not quite enough yet for a demo, but we're getting there. It's definitely progress. But, okay, so if I run tests right now, they won't all complete, even if the Heisenbug doesn't happen. And the reason is because the module stuff that I did also means that modules that import modules don't share their symbols with other modules, which is one of the reasons why you have to do way more imports now and it takes longer, right? So if one of your modules wants to call print, right, it's got to load print. It's got to import the print module. If somebody else wants to load print now, they also have to import the print module. It's not shared in your program. And in theory, that'll be much better in the long term. But right now, it's causing the compiler to do a lot more work, which is the thing that I'm slightly sad about. But what that also means is it's become clear that lots of modules in programs even, especially test programs, weren't importing everything that they needed, right? Because it was just like some other module that they were using happened to be importing some stuff, and so they didn't need to, and that was fine, right? And so I started going through, we have like a lot of test programs in the test now, and I started going through and fixing that so that everybody imported all these modules. But I also noticed there's like 5, the way we have it split out right now, there's like 5 frickin' modules that everybody wants. And I think those should all be combined into the same basic, like those should all become part of the basic module. Which means that if I were to go through all the test programs and make them include all these modules that they're trying to use, then as soon as I turned around and make that change, I would have to go change all the frickin' programs again. And so I said, well, instead of doing that all the way, I did it enough to make sure that the module system was basically working on most of the tests or enough of them. And then now I'm thinking maybe I'll take a pass at eliminating some of those. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. That stuff is bad in C, C++. Pages of coding styles are written to work around this. Do you mean about like namespace collisions due to including multiple stuff? I definitely agree that that's a, I've had serious problems with that in C++. There's nothing more fun than when you have a whole game engine and then you're going to port it to a console and you have a type called quaternion and the console's SDK also has a type called quaternion. Good times, let me tell you that. Good times. Yeah, I'm not sure if imports in this language were really fragile in the way that includes are fragile. Maybe a little bit. But really the main thing that I could imagine happening, there's a couple things. I mean, you could get a redefined symbol, right? That's a thing that would happen all the time in C++, but you can actually now, so you can, you used to just be able to go like import basic, right? Now you can say, for example, basic is import basic, right? And then the symbols don't get dumped into your namespace. So if you have a name conflict, you could always do this. So that's very useful now. And that, of course, means that modules don't have to namespace themselves the way you do in C++, in that horrible way that's stupid, right? Modules don't namespace themselves. If you want them namespaced, you just import them namespaced, right? So that's good. And that works now. Mostly. There's probably some corner cases, or I know there's some corner cases that I haven't handled. So that gets rid of namespace conflicts. But then there's subtler things like if you all share the same global namespace, then you can affect what overloads a module sees, because you're just changing stuff in its parent namespace, and maybe it'll see a function overload that it likes better than the one that you thought it was supposed to call, right? So stuff like that could definitely happen, even with this mechanism. Could I write a 5-line standard imports module for now that everyone imports? Well, I think that's what basic is going to be. Like basic is kind of going to be the equivalent of standard lib in C, where, probably, like if you're not trying to be super embedded and you're just making a program, then you import that and it's got the basic array operations. It's got assert, right? It's got print, like just all the basic stuff that you really want. So I think that's what we're going to do. And then if you wanted, if that was too much stuff for you, whatever reason, you could always just copy it and just cut out the stuff that you don't want. How do modules play with compile time code generation? That is a very broad question, so I'm not sure how to answer it. But the most basic part of the answer, I think, is that you see your metaprogram sees module stuff just like it sees your own program stuff, so you can inspect it and modify it just like your. So this isn't like C++ where the module is precompiled as a .lib or a .o. It's just source. So you're processing all that source the same way you would process anything else. How about even if you put the import in a namespace, overloads still get added to the global namespace? I'm not sure I understand the suggestion. What overloads? So if you write the 5-line thing with basic, then you won't have to rewrite all your tests if you create the real basic module. No, I'm just going to make the real basic module right now, import all this other stuff. The solution to not breaking all the tests in the future is, when the library stuff or the module stuff is done, modules get copied to your program. So it doesn't matter if somebody, like, the idea that there are system modules installed on your system separate from the programs is a broken idea. There's no reason for it. It's a bad idea, right? So what would happen is that whatever the compiler comes with in terms of modules is just an easy place to copy from to get you started, right? but then it gets copied into your program, and then your program just uses that copy. And so there would be no reason in most cases to change that, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I could change what BASIC fundamentally is, and your program wouldn't care because it's not looking at the system installed modules at all to compile. So that is how we will fix that problem. When building a shared library, can the compiler emit correctly sized dummy structs to support static allocation with the p-impl idiom? I don't know enough about that idiom to answer the question. P-impl means pointer to implementation, but I don't know what that means. It's just, that's part of the whole category of stuff that I just ignore. So if you could... What are the dummy structs in that case? I don't know. I mean, if ABC implements overloaded something and you import it as ABC, import ABC, it notices that overloaded is implemented in ABC and doesn't conflict with anything you have, so it makes it available even without using. Well, if you say ABC : import ABC, like you said there, that doesn't read any of your scopes at all. So a module has a separate global scope from your program, is what I'm saying, right? By default. Or always, actually. There's no way, actually, right now to make a module have the same global scope as your program. So that's not a problem anymore. If you mean to do that like the way that it was, I'm not sure that having weird ad hoc rules about overload resolution is the right answer. Although maybe it could be, right? Like if I get sad about how much compilation time all this is taking, and it's hard to fix, then we could start thinking about that. If that's the only other problem is overload resolution, which I'm not sure that it is. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's an interesting direction to think about because it's important to be fast. And if we start, like we're experimenting with this module, this way that modules work now, but if we end up paying too much build time for it, then maybe it's not worth it. I hope we don't end up paying too much build time, though. I think in principle, it's probably okay. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure we can come up with some smart ways of minimizing the time impact. You basically emit a struct implement declaration, which is large enough but doesn't expose implementation details, something that can be statically allocated and used by the DLL. I mean, you could just make a struct declaration with an array of characters in it, right? And you would control the size that way. And you could, your meta program could add that to your program, right? It could generate a string that says, here's a struct with this many characters in it. Is the scope the same for all imports from the same file? So can the module have shared globals? Yes. Okay, here's how it works. Your program has a global scope, and anything you import goes into that scope, right? Modules have their own global scope, and anything they import goes into that global scope. So one module, yeah, it has a global scope, just like your own program. It can have its own globals and whatever, but the module can't see your main program's globals. You could see the module's globals if you want to, because you can bind it to a name like this, and then you can say basic.whatever, right? But the module has no way of referring to yours. If that's what you're asking. Did this import namespacing make compilation time slower? It did, but I'm not sure how much of that is avoidable or not. A lot of the time, the first time you program something, it's a little slow, right? That's just how programming is. I'm not sure how hard it'll be to optimize though, because I haven't really looked at where the time's going. I just know we're doing a lot more imports. So this number, like, we've had this number outputted of like, where is it? Of how many queued items there are. I think that used to be 60,000 or something. We could dig up a stream from the other day to look. Now it's 90,000. So we're doing a lot more of these, if my memory is correct about how many there were. And those just take work. And so we would have to figure out some way around that. Can two imports of the same module interact? Okay. By default, two imports of the same module will be the same instance, right? So if you say I'm importing print and somebody else says they're importing print, you get the same instance. However, you could specify that it's a different instance, in which case it can't interact at all, right? So either they're the same instance or they can't interact at all. Without, I mean, I say can't interact at all, but you could always do something weird. So for example, a module can add something to the context, right? And then use that to talk to its own other instance in some cases, maybe. But that, you know, you can't do it through normal namespace mechanisms. You have two modules A and B, and each overloads function fun with different parameters. And you also have a polymorphic function that calls fun with polymorphic parameters. So which fun ends up being called depends on the parameters passed. But if A is imported into a namespace, then the polymorphic function might not see the appropriately loaded version of fun because it's now hidden behind a well, that's what I was saying, right? That's kind of on you in a sense. Like, if you're going to import all of something's symbols like that, you should probably know what they are. You know what I'm saying? Which raises an interesting question, which is right now, this is the default. Like, this is how we import stuff still, right, by default. And this dumps all the symbols into your namespace. But maybe the default should be to name it and not dump all the symbols, right? Maybe if you say this, it should actually do this. It should maybe compute the name from this string, which is a little weird, but that's cleaner. And then you don't have problems with unknown symbols polluting things. And then if you wanted to dump those into your namespace, you would say like using basic, right? It's just unclear to me. It's unclear to me which of those behaviors is better. And I'm not going to change that yet because I don't want to do too many massive changes at once. You know, you do a little bit of change, you see how it works out, and then you maybe do more change. What was I actually going to do tonight? I was going to fix the basic module to include array and string and all these other things so that you don't have to import all this junk all over the place. Yeah, you can do that. You can say fun :egg.fun. That works. Any updates on timing for public release? No. Although I did this module thing that I was just talking about that I checked in, that I'm doing Fallout cleanup for right now, is part of one of the big features that I wanted to do before private beta. So, you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. We basically have to do at least a private release this year, possibly even all the way to a public release. And it's just because, I mean, yeah, we're doing it when the language is done and when it's ready, but at some point you just take too long, right? I think on the 5-year anniversary of my first demo, that's long enough. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, I had to do some other stuff. We had to finish the witness during that time and ship some ports of it. So it's not really 5 years, but it'll be like pretty soon. It'll be like 3 years of me being full time on compiler plus Sokoban. Now, of course, we are making an entire game, so that takes time too. But I'm just saying, at some point, it's too long. Yeah, I think, you know, there's definitely stuff that needs to be improved in this language, but I think we will hit private beta before too long. Okay. So let me, I mean, this feels like a big change that I'm about to do, but I don't know. I'm just going to do it. Just going to do it. Okay. Why is my mouse? All right. So basic is already a folder with this stuff, and I'm just gonna grab another like array here. Gonna put that there. I want to delete this. Actually, no, because everybody's importing this. So here, okay, so the ones I'm going to do array, print, string, and string builder. Those are all going to be in BASIC. All right. I don't know if there's anything else that I should put there, but we don't want to put too much stuff there because you don't want to get all bloated. But anyway, so array. And then I'm going to load this, and we're going to say delete me. So people can still import array for now, and they'll get nothing. And we're going to have to go change some people because some people are explicitly saying array dot whatever, and that's not really going to be in that namespace anymore. So, okay. So here we're going to say import, or no, load array, right? I think that should do it. Oh, no, not array. There we go. Okay, so here you see I was doing some things where we load array and then explicitly dereference it. So we've got to manually fix all those. But anyone who just dumps array into their namespace should be fine. So yeah, here I was importing array. And anywhere I say array dot, we're just not going to do that. That's not going to be the only file. Yeah. Oh yeah. Who else? Bucket array. Thread. Wait, what? Undeclared identifier, find empty slot. Oh. At some point, so here it's like I'm importing this thing and then I just want some stuff in my namespace. We'll probably add a syntax to using where you just say the names that you want, right? For now, I'm just doing this. Okay. Well, that's enough for Sokoban. I wonder if I did that in any of the tests. No. I mean, we'll fail the tests eventually because I didn't finish all of them. But yeah. So like this one doesn't import print. But we will do that soon. Okay. Okay, let's go to the basic module. We'll add that. So when we try to split these into separate, smaller modules, we run into all these problems. Like people want to call assert. Assert takes a format string. Format string means you need print to print it. So, yeah. Volatile is not a directive. It's somebody's note. It's not an actual thing. We don't have volatile right now. Okay. So, it's getting warm in my apartment is what's happening. So I guess I'm going to check that in. Okay, so now after I do, I'm going to move them all over and leave those like blank dummy modules, and then we'll do the dummy module cleanup. So we did array. We want to do print, string, string builder. I think there's one more. That I wanted. Let me look. What did I send in my email? basic, string, print, array, and string builder. All the same. Okay. I was thinking of it as 5, but basic is one of those 5. So yeah. Let's put, I mean, I think string and string builder. Oh, I've got to go look at the imports in those. Right. Okay. So we don't want to import basic in there. That's stupid, because that's what we are. We don't want these imports. Oh God, reflection and any. Okay, that's going to be a separate to-do. We're not going to worry about that yet. Okay, so we're not going to do array. We're not going to do basic because that's who we are now. This is, we're going to make print part of basic. Any, I guess we just judge about what, I don't remember. That's some new stuff that Ignacio added. I'm not really sure what we use it for. God, this is so much stuff. You know what? See. The problem is there's a bunch of stuff in here that everybody wants, and there's a bunch of stuff in here that not everybody wants. So I think I'm just going to let this be in basic for now, but I'm going to make a note that, like, look, okay, it seems to me that the routines here started as a small group of stuff that pretty much everyone wants, but then a bunch of useful things got added, but they are not things that everyone is going to want. Feel like we should be splitting this into 2 libraries. The simpler stuff should stay here in basic, but complex string searches, scanning, etc. should be in its own module. But you don't want to have to import that module just to call something like advance, right? So, incomplete, refactor this into this problem will only become more extreme as we add more sophisticated string manipulation stuff. Something. Okay. I don't know how object in Java works, but any, we're probably going to change the name of any eventually. It's not a good name. But it's essentially a struct with one member that is exactly like a void star in C because it's a void pointer, and another member that tells you what type of thing that is. So, and that's just a struct in our usual type information system. Okay. We're going to let that be there for now. Okay. Since basic, I think, imports print. Okay. So then this print dot goes away. Okay. Reflection. Yeah. It's just going to import basic. Look at all these people. Okay. Mail. Yes, we have something in the standard library that sends email. Why does string builder can it twit? No, it cannot twit. Are there any rules about aliasing? No, there are not. I mean, we might have some later, but I don't know what they are. They're not going to be ridiculous like C++'s. Do we have a standard web server? No. Would there be any thought towards making arguments without type void pointers implicitly? No. This is a strongly typed programming language. That's just what it is. It's not JavaScript. still too hot in my apartment. On type mismatch error should say it's not JavaScript. It's pretty good. Why is it so hot in my apartment? Disallow void pointers entirely, even as an argument. Well, that's what, a lot of academic style programmer people say that you should do that because now I'm too cold. What's going on? They say that you should do that because, you can make type errors that way. It's a source of errors, and that's true. But systems programmers need to be able to do that stuff. We need void pointers. We need to be able to cast pointers to other pointers. If you're scared of pointers, you cannot write system software. That's just reality. All right, let me try to find the magic level of window. People start out with highly ideas about what a language should be that are motivated by philosophical ideals like that. And the problem is those ideals just often are not quite the right thing. And he plans to make C translators. It would be helpful if we did that. I don't know if we have any real plans for that. What if pointers are scared of you? Then that's the correct ordering. You want pointers to be scared of you. All right, where the hell were we? We were doing this. We were doing this. Okay, that's fine. Actually, you know what? We're not going to check this in yet. Because the more I think about it, so one of the things that I want to fix is these imports. And I suspect that these imports are for the more complicated stuff. And I don't mind if they're in a more complicated module that you import, then I don't mind as much if they have crazy stuff. So I'm just going to straight up split this. We wanted some of the most basic string operations to be in BASIC. So this now has only more involved stuff, not every single BASIC. Not every single BASIC. Multiple modules So we're going to do this. We're going to go back. Okay, we're going to go back to this version that says delete me. It's not actually going to have delete me anymore. Then so this stuff is going to be in BASIC. I don't know if I still want to call it string, but maybe I do. So this 2W string is a weirdo thing. What about these? And then once we get to searching a string for a substring, like all this stuff, okay. Okay. Concatenate. I don't know. I don't know if that should be. And then path stuff. Path stuff could be like its whole own module and then parsing. Okay, but this, okay. So like basic, even maybe two upper and two lower. Maybe that's not even basic. Okay. So now some people are going to need to import string. Type mismatch, wanted string given U8. Wanted string. Oh. There must be a to lower on an entire string. All right. Using chars. Why did you do that? Oh my God. Okay, so reflection and check. Want string like they had before. Undeclared identifier basic. Wait, what happened there? That's weird. All right. Undeclared identifier tprint in string. Oh, that's okay in the big string, right? Okay. This one can import print all it wants. Okay, so just because I don't know how much I like having this name be the same, we're going to rename it. Okay, it's going to be simple string. All right. How often do you intend your void star to actually represent any possible type in your program versus some subset of types? Pretty often. Like memset, for example, or yeah, pretty often. The return value to any memory from any memory allocator. We call allocators a lot, man. That's a thing. It's a thing that we do. Okay. So we're going to say move string builder into basic split string stuff off from string. Okay. So now we're going to do print, and then I think that's it, and then I'll get the tests working. Okay. so we have a print. It's 1,000 lines, but yeah. Okay. I'm going to delete these. And then put that here. Put this at the top. Yeah, there it is. So, you know, we're basically out point numbers. Okay. So we probably have some people explicitly calling print. Oh. Yep. Okay, great. Great. Well, see if we get through any more tests now. We got Heisenbugged. Whoops. We got Heisenbugged. Whoops. Well, that's more tests than we ever got through. Whoops, I keep doing the wrong thing. We want to run the tests. Run the tests. Keep doing the wrong thing. Okay, what the fuck? I must have just missed. Yeah, we're gonna put these in basic. which library that is. Don't you want an IDXGI factory one? DXGI. It's probably not the actual module. Oh, it is. All right. Hey, we ran all the tests. Yay. Okay, now we want to delete, this is going to be painful because I just fixed all the tests and we're going to break all the tests now. But we're going to do it. So array, so we kept string, but array, string builder, and print now go away, right? So this array, delete me. Let's do that. This is going to be painful because a lot of people are trying to import these. String builder. Let's make sure that's delete me. Yep. Delete. And print. Delete me. Delete. Okay, so now we have to fix everybody trying to import all this stuff, which is going to be a lot. Array, print. Array, you might want string, print, oh, string builder. Okay. Array, print, probably string, probably we don't need any of that stuff. No print. You know, if I had a decent file search and replace, I could just do all these. So lame, dude. why do we have imports at the top and at the bottom? Let's put them all in the same place. Hey, Sokoban compiles. Well, now we get to do that for all these frickin' test programs. Wouldn't it be possible to create a link to the file in the error printout so you can just click the file link in Commander and it will open it in Emacs? Well, you could also just do it in Emacs. It's just I don't want to bother. So I am so annoyed with shitty tools that I refuse to spend any time configuring them. And what that usually means is that I have a much more restful life. Once in a while, it turns into a disadvantage. Like right now, hey, if I had an editor that I enjoyed using enough to set it up so that I could like hit the key on the error and pop to the file of the error, then I would be happier right now. But I hate Emacs too much to bother doing that. So that's just where we're at. It's just where we're at. All right. Like even with this thing would be fine if I could just click on one of these and edit the file real fast, but it like fucking opens a window that like cats, it's the most useless garbage. Like, people make the most useless garbage software. A long time ago, I recommended the book Schild's Ladder, and you just finished it, and it was amazing. That's actually the sequel to a different book. So I think it was the better book out of the two, but you might want to read the book before that, although maybe it would have been better to read them in the other order. You got Gravity's Rainbow and have no idea what is going on. Well, that's what happens. That's what happens. I mean, the compiler shouldn't be crashing here. But apparently when you load a module that doesn't exist, let's put that on the list. I don't want to derail what I'm doing right now to fix that, but can I look in? Like, I can't just, this is so stupid. Like, this find and replace tool does not give me an option of just arbitrary folder. I could do this so fast if I could just say arbitrary folder. Oh, wait, I can. Tests. C tests. There we go. Okay, look in tests. Oh, this is going to be good. Import print find all. Okay, added strings we don't care about. Okay, this is going to be way faster. Source control or fuzzer snapshots, we don't care. Did I not save this one? Got to remember to save because we're not going to hit a compile. Print. We'll leave string even though we may not need it there. Import array. Whatever. I'll fix the crashers. Where was that one? Why didn't I find that? What? Include subfolders. Why is it not finding it? Dude, Visual Studio is letting me down. Well, everybody, I try. This is why I don't bother trying to use these tools. They never frickin' work for anything. Like, all I wanted to do was search some files and tell me where this string occurs. And apparently, Visual Studio is so bad now, it can't even do that. I mean, maybe it helped, but like, I wanted to solve the problem. It's in the subfolder that I just... Look, import print. It told me that wasn't there. Oh my God. Oh, I didn't save one of my files. Haha, okay. Well, joke's on me. Okay, well now I need to do the same thing in modules. Right. Okay. Import print. Array string builder. I saved that time. Print. Oh, we're gonna need basic. Oh, whoops. Print array. This is not... Whoops, mgui. Gotta get that one. So many programs. Oh no, we need examples. We forgot to do the examples folder. Didn't search for array yet. Yep. Can't control, after you save, you can't control Z. Great, great. All right, I didn't search for string builder. How did I miss another import print? Like, what is going on? It's in the middle of the other things. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, that tedium has come to a close, and we now okay, how's it going in chat? No, we didn't. It's not the real password. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I think that might be everything that we wanted to do. Are there any questions about, I mean, I know that what I just did was a bunch of search and replaces, so it maybe wasn't that great. But, you know, maybe some people want to know something. Curl. Yeah, definitely we're importing string a few times for people who don't need it, but that's beyond what I'm going to care about today. I am choosing to draw a partition there. Was this related to the big change I mentioned a couple days ago? I don't remember what big change I mentioned. If it was me saying I was going to check in something that I'd been working on for a long time, then yes, this was related to that for sure. Just have questions that would annoy me. Okay, well, don't ask those. Don't ask those. Hey, we got a subscriber while I was doing all that. Welcome, whoever subscribed. The grep thing is running the hash bangs. Oh, that, I mean, I guess that doesn't make sense at all. Why would you want to run something as the default action from your search program? I don't know. Like you searched the body of a program for something and then the default action is to run it when you click on it. Yeah, I don't dig that. That is not appropriate. Will it depend on the C runtime? It will not ultimately. It does right now, but only for a small number of dependencies, and we let that siren go by. We are consistently decreasing the number of dependencies over time. Well, Do we have function overloading? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Well, thanks everybody for coming by. I think it's bedtime for me. And we will do some more streams soon. I'm not sure exactly when. I have some ideas for fun things to do during streams. That'll be not just a bunch of searching and replacing. Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming by. And we'll do some more later on. We're not going to host anybody because I'm lazy tonight. See ya.